Welcome to the Good Leadership Podcast. I'm your host, Charles Good. Today, I'm here to unpack the practical insights from Katy Milkman's book, How to Change, a book that tackles the actual barriers to behavior change and shows you how to overcome them. No fluff, no guilt trips, just strategies you can use to think better, lead smarter, and grow faster. So skip the guilt, we'll grab a coffee or whatever fuels you, and let's dive into the good stuff. Welcome to the Good Leadership Podcast, where we engage with esteemed thought leaders and explore research-backed strategies and techniques that empower leaders at every level to achieve meaningful results that drive lasting change. Have you ever tried to change a bad habit, start a good one, or just level up some part of your life, only to crash and burn before you even get going? Chances are you've heard the usual one-size-fits-all advice like just stay positive, or manifest your goals. Yeah, sure, because nothing fixes procrastination like staring at a vision board while eating Oreos. The problem, most of this advice doesn't address what's really holding us back. Enter Dr. Katy Milkman. She flips the script and asks the big question, what is actually standing in the way? Once you identify those barriers, you can take them down like a boss. So today, we're going to break down the biggest obstacles to change. So obstacle one, getting started. Let us bust one of the biggest myths about behavior change, the idea that people will change if you tell them that it's simple, affordable, and good for them. Spoiler alert, that doesn't work. If it did work, well, kale would be the favorite food of America. We'd have fully funded emergency funds, and we'd all probably have six-pack abs. So what does work? It's something we all dream about, a fresh start. Imagine wiping the slate clean, leaving behind all those bad habits like doom scrolling at midnight or sneaking sugar into your coffee. Sounds perfect, right? Here's the kicker. True blank slates are about as common as unicorns. Most of our habits are so embedded in our routines, they're actually part of our DNA. That's why change feels so daunting. It's not just about learning something new, it's about unlearning the old. But here's the good news. You don't need a total overhaul. You just need to use the fresh start effect. The secret is we're wired to pursue goals on days that feel like new beginnings. Think New Year's resolutions, first day of school, or even the moment you say, that's the last time I'm going to binge watch this show and stay up until 2 a.m. These fresh start moments act like psychological reset buttons, helping us let go of past failures and focus on the future. Katy uncovered something fascinating about how we view time as well. We don't just view our life as one unbroken stretch, because honestly, how depressing would that be? Instead, we naturally divide it into episodes or chapters. Think college years, the career pivot area, or season 2 of my fitness goal, or season 3 of my fitness goal, or season 4, you get the point. Fresh starts don't have to be life-altering events either. Mondays, birthdays, or even the day after you finally finish that Netflix series can work wonders. Google has even built a moments engine to nudge employees towards positive changes after milestones like promotions. Imagine a pop-up saying, new desk, new you. Pure brilliance. So here's another game-changing idea for Milkman. She also mentions that labels are very powerful. When we're labeled as something, we start to act like it. Call someone a voter, and they're more likely to show up on election day than if you just tell them to vote. Want to eat healthier? Don't say I'm cutting back on junk food. Say I'm a healthy eater. It's not just semantics, it's science. Labels shape identity, and identity drives behavior. Obstacle number 2, impulsivity. Why is it so hard to do the right thing when the wrong thing looks so much better? Economists call this the present bias. The reason why future you is stuck cleaning up after present you's mess. Research has proven time and time again that rather than relying on willpower to resist temptation, we're better off figuring out ways to make good behaviors more gratifying in the short term. Big payoffs far down the road just are not enough to keep us motivated. So how do we outsmart ourselves? Well, enter Mary Poppins. You know her famous line, a spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. The trick is to make the boring, responsible stuff more enjoyable in the short term. Psychologists call this temptation bundling, and here's how it works. Pair a guilty pleasure like binge watching your favorite TV show with a virtuous activity, usually that you want to avoid, like working out. Suddenly, the treadmill turns into Netflix cardio hour, and voila, you're sweating and laughing at your favorite sitcom. But what if working out or eating right still feels like a chore? That's where gamification comes in. Gamification can make boring tasks fun by turning them into a game. Think leaderboards, rewards, or friendly competition. Take fitness apps, for example. They give you a badge for hitting milestones or challenge you to step out with your friends. Suddenly, every step feels like a tiny victory. And who doesn't love winning, even if it's just bragging rights on your step count? So, what's the lesson here? Present bias is sneaky, but it's not unbeatable. Whether you're bundling guilty pleasures with good habits or turning boring tasks into games, the trick is to make the right thing more satisfying in the here and now. And remember, future you will thank you. Obstacle number 3, procrastination. Procrastination. The art of lying to yourself about how much time you're actually going to have. Why start today when you can binge watch your favorite show and totally get it done tomorrow, right? But let's face it, tomorrow is where all the dreams go to die. Procrastination is fueled by the fantasy that future me is going to be a superhero who handles everything. Spoiler alert, future you is just present you with less sleep and more regret. The truth, if you wait until you're ready, you're never going to start. So how do you beat procrastination at its own game? Meet commitment devices, your personal pre-installed guilt trips. These are those guardrails that you set up when you're feeling motivated and responsible, so you don't have to derail yourself when temptation strikes later. They lock you into smart decisions when you're clear-headed, preventing you from caving in to those impulsive urges or bad habits down the road. You can also think of them as parental controls, but for your own self-sabotaging tendencies. Here are a few examples. Public accountability. Tell your friends your goals so you cannot quietly quit without facing their judgment. Bonus points if you involve that one brutally honest friend who has no filter. 2, monetary stakes. Bet money on your goals. Imagine having a Venmo account of $100 that you're going to give to your ex if you skip a workout. If that doesn't make you go to the gym, I don't know what will. And 3, restrict temptation. Want to stop impulse spending? Leave your credit card at home or freeze it in a literal block of ice. Yes, people actually do this, and yes, it works. Obstacle number 4, forgetfulness. You know the moment you walk into the room, ready to grab something important, and immediately you forget why you're even there. Turns out forgetfulness isn't just a convenient excuse, it's one of the biggest reasons we fail to follow through. But forgetfulness doesn't have to derail you. The secret are implementation intentions. That's fancy psychological speak for turning your vague, I'll do it later plans into concrete, specific actions. Take, for example, instead of saying, I'll work out more, say, I'll work out every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. right after work. Think of it like programming your brain with a when-then formula. When X happens, then I'll do Y. It's weirdly effective because your brain loves a routine as much as Netflix loves autoplaying your next episode. And don't forget to use reminders, but make them count. A reminder that shows up 3 days too late is about as useful as sunscreen in the middle of a thunderstorm. The key is timing. Reminders work best when they pop up right before you need them to take action or when you can act on them immediately. Also, link your new habits to ones you already have. If your morning coffee routine is non-negotiable, because let's face it, whose isn't, use it as a trigger so that when I brew my coffee, I'll take my vitamins. It's just like saying you're going to be an inch closer to that superhero status person you want to be. Obstacle number 5, laziness, my constant companion. If you've ever opted for DoorDash over cooking or scrolled TikTok for an hour instead of doing literally anything productive, congratulations, you're human. Laziness is not just a bad habit, it's in our biology. Our brains are wired to conserve energy, which is great for survival, but terrible for modern productivity. Here's the twist. Laziness doesn't have to be your nemesis. It can be your secret weapon if you know how to wield it. The trick is defaults. Defaults make the right choices effortless by eliminating friction. Want to save money? Set up automatic transfers from your savings account so you don't even have to think about it. If you want to eat better, skip buying chips and keep fruits and veggies front and center in your refrigerator. The key is to make the easy option the right option. But let's face it, not everything can be solved by a one-time fix. When laziness works against us and defaults can't do the heavy lifting for that long-term change, the next best strategy, build a habit. Building habits are like creating new default settings for your behavior, and it's all about repetition, responding to familiar cues consistently and rewarding yourself for every success. The more you repeat an action in the same context and feel good about it, the more automatic it becomes. Habits are like those default settings, and they put good behavior on autopilot. The more you repeat an action in a familiar circumstance and receive some reward, be it praise, relief, pleasure, or maybe even cold hard cash, the more habitual and automatic your reactions become in those situations. Also consider piggybacking new habits on old ones, which can help with habit formation. Link whatever you hope to start doing regularly, like push-ups or maybe eating more fruit, with something you already are doing habitually, like drinking your morning cup of coffee or leaving for work. Obstacle number 6, confidence. Self-doubt can keep you from making progress on your goals or even prevent you from setting goals in the first place. Here's the thing. It's not that we don't know what to do. The issue is we don't believe we can make the change in many cases. Psychologists call this self-efficacy, which is a fancy way of saying, do you believe that you have what it takes to succeed? And research shows that when we lack confidence in our abilities, we're far less likely to make progress. But here's where it gets tricky. When we see someone else struggling, what is our go-to response? Advice, right? We throw suggestions at them like confetti, thinking that we're helping. But guess what? That unsolicited advice can actually hurt their confidence. It can feel like we're saying, hey, clearly you can't figure this out on your own, so let me swoop in with some wisdom. Ouch. So how do we build their confidence instead of squashing it? Well, here's a wild idea. Instead of giving advice, why don't you ask for it? Research shows that when people are asked to share their wisdom, it makes them feel more competent, confident, and like a total boss. So think about it. When someone asks you for advice, it boosts your confidence. You're suddenly now the expert. And here's the kicker. When you give advice, you're more likely to take that advice yourself. It's called the seeing is believing effect. After all, it'd be pretty hypocritical to tell someone you should totally prioritize your health while you're eating chips on the couch. Advice giving holds us accountable too. Quick tip, if you're stuck on something, flip the script on yourself. Ask, what advice would I give a friend facing a similar challenge? It's weirdly effective. You gain that perspective and confidence as a result. So the next time you're trying to help someone or yourself, remember this. The key isn't more advice, it's belief. Build confidence by asking for advice, flipping the narrative, and surrounding yourself with people who believe in your potential. Because when you start to believe in yourself, you'll be amazed at what you can accomplish. So here's the deal. Changing your habits is hard, but it's not impossible. From battling procrastination to silencing self-doubt, the key is to attack these obstacles with strategies that actually work. Think of it like upgrading your life one level at a time, like Mario collecting power-ups. Future you is counting on present you to step up. So let's do this. I hope this episode has provided you with valuable insights. If it has, I ask you to share it with someone who would also benefit from it. If you've been enjoying and gaining knowledge from this podcast, then subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can find all the previous episodes of the podcast and additional learning resources. You can also subscribe to the podcast on Apple or Spotify and leave up to a 5-star review.